Hey, good morning, everybody. This morning, I'm going to go over how to make a paracord lanyard made using a snake knot. So I'm going to be using two pieces of paracord, a pink piece and a purple piece. I want to have high contrast. So this this particular paracord lanyard has a core, all right? And when you make the lanyard, you want the core length to be approximately how long you want the lanyard to be. Okay, so this is about 6 inches. So let's say I wanted to make my lanyard 6 inches long. That being the case, you want the core to face into the center, right? So the working side is going to be much longer. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. I'm going to make it this long. So that's about 8 inches. Okay, you always want your working side to be on the outside. Okay, so this is the way you're going to set it up. This is the purple paracord right here, purple. So you want the working side, which is the long side, on the outside. So I'm going to feed it in. I'm going to bring it this way, right? So as you can see, the long end, which is the working end, which you're going to see in a minute, that's going to be on the outside. I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to bring these two up. One side, then the other side. I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to bring it in, just like that. I'm going to cinch it up. Okay, let me go over something real quick. This is the part where the keys go onto the ring. You want that opposite of where you're doing your work. You don't want that anywhere close to where you're doing the work. So you want to keep it completely on the other side. You're just going to cinch that up. All right. So as you can see, the core, the middle, is on the inside. The working end is on the outside. Now, we're going to move on to my second paracord. I want the working end on the inside, and you want it about the same length. Pardon me. It's going to be about the same length. See that? Approximately. I want the working end on the outside, just like so. Okay. I'm going to bring this around. Get that out of the way. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to bring it up, over. See that? And then I'm going to bring these two cords up inside. And then I'm going to bring it out, just like that. So as you can see, they're both set up the same way. Good morning, Big Chief, Sonia. They're both set up the same way with the core of the lanyard on the inside, just like so. Now I'm going to flip it over. Okay. Now I'm going to begin the work on the paracord. For this type of knot, which is a snake knot. Excuse me. Snake knot variant. I'm going to use a fid. This is a large fid. That's what I'm going to be using to do the work. Pardon me. I'm going to get this out of the way for now. I don't need it just a second. So I'm going to orientate it like this now. Because now I'm going to show you the work. All right. So as you can see, it's set up like this. I'm going to bring this one right here. I'm sorry, this one. I'm going to bring it around like this. Just like that. I'm going to bring this back a little bit. just like that. And then I'm going to push this through that, just like that. So it looks like this, just like this. Okay. I'm going to cinch it up a little bit. I'm going to bring it like this and tighten it up. And every once in a while, you want to work on using the core. You want to cinch it down to tighten up all your work. So it's going to look just like that. Okay. And again, you want to keep this part away from your work. Okay. Then what I'm going to do, now I'm going to switch to the other side, to this pink cord, the long part, not the middle, the long part. I'm going to bring that around, just like so. I'm going to flip it over. See that? Flipping it over. And then I'm going to use my fid now. Doesn't want to go on. So give me 1 second. Fid didn't want to go on the end. So what I got to do is I got to melt it and make it so the fid will fit on there. This is hot. I don't recommend you touch this if you're not used to handling paracord, because this is hot. But I'm used to it, so I can do it without. I know how much heat I'm going to get. But if you're new to paracording, you don't want to do that by hand. You want to cut it. Anyways, so I'm going to attach the fid. Okay. Remember, right here, see this? You're going to come across the top of it, just like that. And then you're going to go over, you're going to flip it over right here, and you're going to bring it through here, just like this. And you're going to pull it taut. So let me show you what it looks like from the other side. I'm bringing it through there. I'm going to bring it across over the top of that. So this is down below. The purple one. It's down below. I'm going to pull it tight, just like that. This is the beginning of the work. Come down to the core, strengthen that up, pull both of the working ends taut. Okay, so this is the beginning of the work. And then when you flip it over, it's going to look like this. Now, what I'm going to do now is bring the pink one around again, right? The pink end. I'm going to push it through so that it comes out. 1 second. Sorry, you guys. Give me 1 second. It's clearing my throat. All right, so back to this. I'm going to bring it around. I'm going to come through again with the pink one. I'm going to come through right here. Right there. Just like that. See that? And then I'm going to bring it around. I want to keep the part that I bring back around underneath the original one. Just like so. I'm going to pull it tight. Okay? Make sure everything's snugged up. Just like that. All right. So now when I flip it over, I have two. See that? I've got two bands of pink. So now I'm going to switch over to the purple cord. This is how you do your sequencing also, by the way. Okay. Okay, so when you continue the stitching, you always want to do, when you continue the knot, you always want to do the knot on the side that has two of them, like this. So I know, because there's two pink ones, right? I have to use the purple one. That's the next one I got to use. Okay. And as you can see, because I did it twice, it hid that initial knot. You can't see that anymore. Because remember, it came straight out the side. But because I did two layers, that's hidden now. But you have to have that in order for the knot to work, because that's what locks the knot in. Anyways, so I'm going to come here, right? You see this? I'm going to come here. I'm going to go right into this with the fid. You need a fid for this. I'm going to come here. I'm going to bring it on this side of where I started. And then you might have to twist it to keep it from, there we go. See that? I twisted it to keep it from bundling up. When you bring it around, you want it up below this. You don't want it up here. You want it below it. You're going to pull it in tight. You can feel it too from the back. Okay, see that? That's nice and taut. And then again, you want to strengthen it. This also tightens up your knot by pulling on the cords, putting your fingers, applying pressure here, and then pulling the core towards you. That makes your knot taut. And then, of course, to make it look, to dress it up, you also want to strengthen the sides. Okay, now watch when I flip it over. I got two purple ones. See that? I have two purple. So that tells me that I need to go switch to the pink. So I'm going to take the fid off. And relocate it on the pink one. Let me get this out. Going back to the pink cord. Okay, and then when I come through the pink, when I come through again, I always want the fid to go through and come out on the inside of the cord. Again, every single time. Then I'm going to pull this one time and make sure that it's below the pink, like so. Pull it nice and tight, just like that. Go to the other side, work the center. Okay. So then I'm going to flip it over again. Bam, I got two bands. That tells me I got to use my purple cord. So I come back to the purple. Come back to the purple cord. And I sew it in. You need a fid to do this. If you don't have this tool, it's going to be exceedingly difficult to do this. And even with this, it can be difficult. You might have to wiggle it around to get the space that you need to bring this through. So anyways, I'm bringing it through. Also, if you're new to paracording, this is going to be hard on your fingers and on your hands. As you can see right now, I already got a mark right here. That's from the back of the fid, from pushing the fid through making that gap. So prepare yourself for that. Paracording is going to build callus on your hands. Also, on this particular knot, and when you're, as you can see, I'm pulling it through. And always make sure it's below the one that's above. Pulling it through. Tighten it up. Work both sides. Work the core. See, I have a little gap there. See that? I have a little gap. So that tells me I need to work it a little bit more. You don't want that gap. That takes away from how it's going to look at the end product. Okay? Still there a little bit. See that? There's still a little bit. But I'm anticipating that once I begin the next stitch, that's going to go away. So here we go. I got to flip it over again. There we go. I got 2 purple ones. So that tells me I know I got to use a pink one. So I'll jump back over to the pink side. Now you can just have 2 fids always attached to both ends. That way you don't have to keep doing what I'm doing. You can just work one end after the other without having to transplant the fid. So I come back over here. I see it. I see my work. So right now, as I'm pushing it through, that the back of the fid is going into the palm of my hand. So be prepared for that when you're doing this work. And also, on this particular one, you can also scratch up the back of this finger. So be careful, pay attention for that. And at first, you're not going to know why. You're not going to notice it at first until you do it a few times. You can avoid it, right? Once you do the knots enough, you'll know how to position your hands so you don't damage your hands. So anyways, there we go. Gonna pull it taut. Move it up in there. See how I'm pushing it up in there, getting it in place. The paracord is not gonna go where, if you don't do what I'm doing, it's not gonna look right. It's not gonna address itself. This is right. This is part of the paracording. You got to go in and tinker with it and make it look right. If you just try to just stitch it and stitch it and stitch it, it's going to be sloppy. So you have to make the effort to inspect it and see if it looks good. Okay, you're going to have to fiddle with it and handle it. So now I gotta go jump to the purple side again. So I'm gonna grab it. How long have I been on? I've been on for 17 minutes already. And this is just a lanyard tutorial. Angel, what's up, brother? So anyways, I'm gonna come over. I'm gonna insert it right here. Don't also when you put the fid into the cord, don't put the fid, make sure the fid does not go into the cord itself. You want to position it in the gaps because you don't want to damage your cord. All right, I'm bringing it in. See that? It's on the inside of this cord, on the inside. You might have to twist it. See, I'm twisting it to make it not bunch up. And never let your core get outside your work. See, the core is still in the middle. Always want the core in the middle. Okay, I'm gonna tighten that up. Bam. And so what happens is as you're working on your project, right? As you're working on the project, the paracord kind of gets a memory for what you're doing. And it gets easier because the paracord is because you're using a certain kind of knot and you're inserting the paracord a certain way. As you progress, the paracord will naturally want to assume the form and the position that you need to continue the knots. So again, for those of you that don't know, most of the stuff like these knots originated in the Navy or sailing. These are primarily most of these are all sailing knots that have been modified for decorative purposes. And that being said, if you go aboard a sailing ship, you'll see a lot of decorative knots on those sailing ships because they take pride in their knots. And I belong to a couple of guilds, knotting guilds, and I take a lot of pride in my work. So I go out of my way to make sure that my work is legit and looks appropriate. And primarily out of respect to those sailors, because they've been doing this for many decades and hundreds of years. So I try to make sure that I do it legit in honor of them. Anyways, I'm flip it back over. I've got my two cords right here. So I need to jump back over to the pink side, to the dark side, the pink side. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna switch it. Bam. Then I'm going to bring this around. Yes, just like so. Make sure it's always on the inside. Feed it through. I'm gonna flip it over so I can work with it. Always make sure, like I said before, make sure the core is always on the inside of the work because you need that core. That's what gives you the support for your knots is the core. This part here. You're building your knots around that core, and then the knot this particular knot starts at the top and works its way down. Not all knots are like this. This particular knot works in one direction. Okay, I'm gonna tighten it up in the core again. Make sure it's all see that the gaps have taken themselves away on their own. All right, I'm gonna flip it over and back to the pink. I got 2 layers of pink, so I know I need to switch it again. All right, making progress. Been on for 21 minutes. I don't want the tutorial to be too long because I don't want people to lose interest. Coming down, gonna insert it, just like so. Making sure I'm on the inside. Flip it around so I can manipulate it. Twist it a little bit to make sure it doesn't tangle up, and then pull it taut. I'm gonna get both sides. I work all four pieces of paracord to get it to where it looks right. 2 layers means I got to jump to the other side. Now, in case I haven't made it clear, pardon me. In case see it doesn't want to go through because I'm stitching it so tight that it's not wanting to go through. So you always now see this. You want to bring it around the back of this. So as you can see, as I tighten it up, it's around the back. See that? It's around the back side of it. I don't really need to worry about. I've been doing this long enough to where that's not an issue for me. But if you're new to paracording, things like that make a difference because you'll forget and you'll try to just bring it around the front and it'll be wrong. It has to go around the back and come over the top. It's very important that it comes around the back and goes over the top. Okay. And as you can see, I'm adjusting it, making sure it looks right. There we go. Look at that. 2 layers. I got to jump to the purple side again. Jump it to the purple side. I'm going to insert it. Just like that. Bring it around. Make sure everything's out of the way. Cores in the middle to the left of the work. And then just bring it in. Twist it around so it doesn't get all clumped up. See how I'm doing that? Make sure it's below the one that's already in front. And lock it in place. Get it nice and tight. There we go. Check that out. So this is a snake knot. This is a snake knot key lanyard. Okay, snake knot. Okay, I'm gonna flip it over. I got 2 bands of purple. So that means I got to jump back to the pink. There we go. Bring it in. So you notice I flip it away from me. That's so I can get I can use my body, my core strength, to push the fid through. If I were to try to have it towards me and push that fid through, it would be much harder. Once I get the fid through, I flip it back towards me. See that? See how it's trying to go in front? You want to make sure it's in the back, behind the work. It was trying to be like this. If I were to just pull that through, it wouldn't work. It has to be behind, just like that, in order for it to work. Bam. Tighten it up. Get it going. Yes, there we go. Tighten it up a little bit more. Flip it over. I got 2 bands of pink. Got to jump back to the purple side. To the dark side. The dark side of the moon, baby. There we go. Gonna flip it. Do 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 do. All right. So see what I'm now. If I try to hold it like this and try to feed it in, see it doesn't want to. It's not gonna work. You have to have it away from you. That way I can get down in it and feed it through. See that? And then flip it back around. Pull it through. Get my finger out of the way so I don't get my finger caught up in the knot. Tighten it up. Tighten it up. There we go. Yes, making progress. So another thing about this paracord is 550 paracord. This is a commercial grade, high quality paracord. So the equivalent would be mil spec paracord, would be the military equivalent. But commercial paracord cannot claim mil spec because it's not military paracord. But it's built to the same standards as military paracord, mil spec paracord. This is 550 cord. That means that this paracord, one strand, is rated at 500, has a tensile strength of 550 pounds. So this core right here, this part right here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 5. That's 1,000, 2,000, right? 2,200 pounds. That's the tensile strength of this right here. That part right there, 2,200 pounds, is what this could handle before it fails. Nylon is very durable. All right, moving along. Let's flip it back over. Bam. I'm going to jump back over to the pink side. Jump back over to the pink side. Bring this through like so. Sorry. Bring this through like so. Bam. Make sure it's on the inside of this, the work. Make sure the core is always out of the way. See that? The core, these are the core. Always make sure they're out of the way. Can't emphasize that enough. You don't want your core to be on the wrong side of the work. Bam. Pull it in, make it tight. Bam. Locks in place. Make sure I got it nice and taut on both sides. Then flip it over. I got 2 pink bands. Jump back over to the purple cord. See, I almost did it just now. What I was telling you about. where I almost caught this right here with my fingernail just now. So what happens is I'm trying to feed this in, right? I'm twisting it. What'll happen is this nail on this finger will come up and make contact with this knuckle. See what I'm saying? And if you keep letting it do that, it's gonna pull away your skin there. So you gotta think about stuff like that. You'll feel it the first time, and then subconsciously you won't realize what it is. But once you do it a few times, you come to realize what's actually going on. And then you want to all you got to do is just adjust how your finger positioning so you don't damage your finger. And then again, there's not too much you can do short of wearing maybe gloves with the fid getting into the palm of your hand, because this part here, the fid is going into the palm of your hand, because you're using that force to drive the fid through that gap. So until you build callus, or if you don't care, you can wear like a glove on your hand to keep it from getting damaged from the fid. Flip it over. I got two purple. I got two purple, so I'm going to jump to the pink again. Jumping back to the pink. Got three people in here. Going to jump back to the pink. Bring it up. So you can try to hold the fid off to the side like this, so to prevent it from digging into your palm. But even then, it's still wanting to dig in right here, because you got to use force to get it through there. Anyways, and then back over here, tighten it up. Bam. Twist it, make it look right. Tighten everything up. And there you go. All right. When you finish it, it's going to look like this. It's always going to look like that at the end. So once you get the length that you want, then you can finish it. Okay. The way you finish it is you just go like, here's the core. They're about the same length. See that? They're about the same length. Okay. Now keep in mind, this is for utility, right? This is a utility. So what I do when I make these, let me show you something. When I make these, because let's say I'm going to stop it right now. I'm going to end it, right? I'm done. What I do is I cut these at different lengths. I don't make all four of them the same length, because now let's say I want to I can attach something to that, like whatever. Let's say I want to attach something else. Now I have room on this end where I can attach something on this end too. And what I do is I make all four of them at a different length instead of one length. Okay. So 1 second. Where is I have a lighter right here. Okay. This is where you try to make it decorative. 1 second. I don't see them. Where? Oh, here they are. All right. I want to make it decorative. The ends. See this? It's melted. See how it just looks melted? I don't really want that. Okay? Right. How about a man thimble or gloves? Right. All right. So I don't really want that, because I want the ends to look more decorative. So I'm going to come through, cut that off, get it out of there. All right. And like I said before, I don't want them all to be the same length. Okay. So I have that one at this length. I'll cut this one like maybe here. I'm going to cut it. Bam. So now I got three, right? This one, I'll cut somewhere in between those two. So see how they're all different lengths. This one, I'll cut like maybe here. Okay. Now I'm at the end of the work. So this is what it's going to look like when it's all finished. But I'm not quite finished yet. There's my keychain with plenty of length on the end in case I want to do something else with this keychain lanyard. So now I'm going to go to the ends. I'm going to warm it up. For this part, if you want it to look decorative, you can't have the flame touch it. So what I do is I'll use the lighter and I'll come to the blue part of the flame just enough to melt it, to get it melting. Just like that. So it's not burning the cord. Then I'll use the back of the scissors to flatten it out, make it look more decorative. See that? It's not always burnt up. See how it doesn't look singed? Then I want to make sure that it's good to go. Looks pretty good. I'm going to go to the next one, the pink one. So the lighter the color, the more careful you got to be about applying the heat, because the easier the singe it is for the singe to show up. Now you see I'm passing it through the blue part of the flame, but I'm doing it quickly. I'm just trying to melt it, not burn it. Here we go. Flatten it out, make it look more decorative. Bam. See that? See how it's not burnt. It looks decorative. Okay. Next one. Same thing. Pass it through the blue part of the flame. I don't want to get it too close to the camera. I don't want to damage my camera. There we go. Use the back of the scissors just to make it look. There we go. See that? And then finally, the last one right here, this purple one. I'm going to come and do the same thing with that one. Just get it in the flame at the blue part of the flame because it's hotter. And then I'm going to flatten that out using the back of the scissors. Bam. And as you can see, it's not cinched. It's just nice and flat. And there you go. That is a snake knot 2-cord keychain lanyard. And again, like I told you before, you want to keep this end away from here, because when you put the key on, you want to be able to feed the key into this. So anyways, that's it, you guys. That's how you do it. And there you go. That is a 38-minute tutorial on how to make a snake knot 2-cord key lanyard with utility at the end. Also making it decorative. It looks decorative. There you go. So for this particular item, before I bounce out of here, the core strength, the tensile strength of this item is of course limited to the weakest part of the keychain, which would be this. This ring will fail before this paracord. This right here is 2,200 pounds of tensile strength. This ring, is no way is this ring capable of supporting 2,200 pounds of weight. So don't get a wild hair up your butt and think that you can like tow a car with this, because this is going to fail. This is not going to fail. I've seen people trying to do crazy stuff. You're always limited by the weakest part of the project. And that's why this is not a utility. What I built today is strictly decorative. Okay? Because keys are not going to make this expand and fail. But if you try to use this for something outside of the scope of what this is designed for, you're setting yourself up to get hurt. Just because this is rated at 2,200 pounds does not mean that this whole entire device is limited to this, not to this. This ring is probably only good for like 100 pounds or 150 pounds before it fails. So always keep that in mind when you're using paracord. Please, please. If I want to increase the tensile strength, if I wanted to make this, right, capable of 2,200 pounds, I would need a shackle, a steel shackle on this end if I wanted to use it for that purpose. All right, so even with this, let's say I attach this to the end of that, right? I'm still limited to this device's capability, right? This has got a higher tensile strength than that because it just is. But still, that being said, look at this. This does not lock. Okay, this does not lock. This has the same tensile strength. Actually, this doesn't have the same. This is rated less because this is the weakest two parts. This part here has a tensile strength of 2,200 pounds because I'm using two cords. But where it's attached is only one cord. So this only, technically, this only has a tensile strength of 1,100 pounds here. And this is certainly not, this is not rated at 1,100 pounds. I can tell you that for a fact. Maybe 100 pounds, 150 pounds before this pulls apart and fails. And this is way less than that. So always keep that in mind when you make your projects. All right. That being said, this is Lar. I'm out of here. I promised a tutorial today, and I made it happen. Use the StreamYard. I hope everybody enjoyed the tutorial. I plan to do more. I plan to do more. So once again, this is a snake knot key lanyard using two pieces of paracord, two different colors. All right, this is Lar. Paracord. This is LAR Paracord. I'm out of here. Thank you all for coming in and checking out the tutorial. Everybody have an outstanding day. And like I always say, support one another. Hang out with people that you like. All right. Everybody take care. Have an outstanding day. One more look at it before I go out of here. There we go. Yeah. All right. Everybody take care. Have a great day.